My mother is like the backbone of our family because she showed us what it was like to work hard. I always felt like it'd be a slap in my mother's face if we said we were going to do something and didn't give it our all. Even with that being said, I wasn't the best quarterback on the team. There was another guy in front of me that if he went down towards ACL. If he didn't go down, he would have been a starting quarterback. Right, but I just say all that to say this: the Lord is sovereign. The Lord isn't sovereign because he tore his ACL. The Lord is sovereign because even though he tore his ACL, when he came back 2 years later, they won the conference championship. They went undefeated.
Oh wow!
Right, so he went down, and I was able to step up. But if I didn't have that mindset, I wouldn't have been able to step up because I probably been like, oh, he's starting. Oh, coach, he playing him because of this, and I'm in the back whining and complaining.
How you feeling?
I'm blessed, bro. Blessed, man. Taking it one day at a time. You know how it is. How you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Got the Colgate white smile and all that, man. I'm trying to be like you when I grow up, man.
gotta stay fresh out here, man.
Yo, what's going on, Chip? How your day been?
It was great, man. It was great. Can't complain. Work. Work is a blessing. Came home and just been chilling. That was a beautiful day out here in Virginia, man. So this is one of our nicest days yet. So just been enjoying it, man.
Today in New York was kind of good. The other days was crazy. The weather is like bipolar out here. You know how it is in New York.
Yeah, the weather in New York is filthy, bro. It's gonna be 20 degrees next week. Just wait.
That's for sure, man. Yo, listen, champ. I'm excited to have you on, man. My spirit told me to reach out to you, and I always kind of like listen to my spirit and let my spirit guide me. And I said, you know what? Let me reach out to my brother from another mother. I know you light skin, I'm dark skin, but you still my brother, man.
Yeah, I'm dark skin according to me, bro. I'm dark skin.
Listen, I always say a shade. Any shade that's that's under me is considered light skin, bro. So if you're not my shade or up, it's just
we gonna talk about that later.
Yeah, listen, man, we're gonna have a lot of fun, man. Like I said, it's a privilege and it's an honor to have you up here. I've known you for a couple of years now. Over the time, just getting a chance to get to know you from business and just as a human being, as a man. And bro, honestly, even though you're younger than me, there was a lot, between you and the Kills. I know a Kill is on here. I really looked up to y'all in a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Especially when we talking about spiritual, your faith, your walk, the word. Y'all was quoting scriptures, and I'm like, I don't know what y'all talking about. Like, I don't know what that means. But for everyone that's here, that's live with us, man, thank y'all for showing up. Thank y'all for supporting the live. Thank y'all for supporting the show. For all those that know Keon, that's here for him, that's supporting him. Shout out to y'all for being here, because without y'all, none of this would be possible. For y'all that do not know who I am, my name is Marquise. I am the founder of I Think That I'm Talking to Somebody, and it's been I just started, maybe like a month ago. I just started. So I think Keon, I think you like my fifth or sixth person that I'm interviewing now.
Yeah.
So with that being said, y'all, this brother right here, he don't really need no introduction. You know what I'm saying? He don't really need no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. My brother Keon Marsh, a man of God. He's a coach, a strength and conditioning coach. He's a man of God. He's a husband. He's a man that stands on principle, a vibrant, educated, articulate. He's everything. Everything you can look in the dictionary that's good, that's positive, that's what he represents. Without further ado, my brother Keon Marsh, man, welcome to the show, brother. I appreciate you being here.
Appreciate you having me on, man. I don't take this lightly. I look at you as somebody in high regard too, man. Like, you're a guy that carries a lot of wisdom, and it goes both ways, So definitely the respect, the endearment is there for you as well, bro. So I appreciate you.
Anytime, man. So I got a lot that I want to ask, right? But I'm gonna do my best to take it in steps. But just tell me a little bit, for those that do not know who you are. Just give us a little of an introduction of who you are. Where you came from, where you grew up at, and just your journey overall, where you at right now.
All right. So I'm smiling because I feel like ever since I left New York at the age of 18, my life has been a whirlwind. But originally born and raised Queens, New York. Uh, Grew up in Queens, went to high school in Brooklyn, played football. I have a twin brother. We grew up together, played football since we were 8 years old. Football was pretty much the gateway for me. Growing up when I was young, I always thought it was either football or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that was my vehicle as my way out. There came a time in high school when I suffered a bad back injury, and the doctor said that you may not be able to play football ever again. And so at that time, football was my God. That's what I put all my faith and trust in because I saw all these guys getting it on TV. I'm like, yo, that's gonna be my way out. I'm gonna make it to the NFL, take care of my family. And so, in that moment when I was in the doctor's office, my mother, she said, you got two options. You could either quit football or you could trust God. And in that moment, all I wanted was a hug, but my mother challenged me and she
Mm-hmm.
challenged, the deepest part of me as a man. So, at 16, 17, most people say you're a teenager, you're adolescent, whatever it is, right? There's fancy words, but you're a man by like physiologically you're a
Right.
man. So at that time, I was a man and she challenged me and I didn't have another man to do that. Or most oftentimes it is a man. So my mother challenged me and so I just started reading scriptures and long in this very short time my heart started changing. It wasn't something I was doing. I wasn't praying 5 times a day. I wasn't doing all these different tasks, right? I'm just reading the scriptures because I'm like, yo, if this is what I got to do for God to send this miracle my way, then let's make it happen. Like,
Right.
come on, God, like I'm doing what I got to do. So, going throughout my day, I just started to be challenged in the way that I thought about things, the way that I seen people. And I just started to change from the inside out. Fast forward, I'm 18 years old, ready to go to college. I have nowhere to go. I wasn't highly recruited, knowing me and my brother. We're walking to go work out with a guy named Will Poole that played in the NFL. He went to USC. He's a Queens native as well. And we get a call. I get a call from a dude named, well, not a dude, my former coach, Coach
Yeah.
Mike Rasmussen, right?
Uh-huh.
So shout out to Coach Mike Rasmussen. He definitely is a key part of, my journey because he's the first person that believed in me when literally no one else did. I didn't get another call to play college football anywhere else in the country. Not
Mm-hmm.
Division One, Two, Three, NAIA, no JUCO. This dude on the opposite end of the country, called me. So I was like, yo, you want me? Can I take my brother? Can I take my friend out there? So, you know, my mom, she was saving up for a house. She used some of that money and, we flew out to California and we went all in, man. We got an apartment and stayed out there for 2 years. Akil got a scholarship to Mercyhurst University. I stayed out there for an extra semester because I redshirted and I got a scholarship to Hampton University. Coming up, it wasn't easy. When I got there, I was the seventh quarterback on the team. And so there was a lot of adversity. I used to film our games and in filming our games, I used to have my pads on,
Mm.
like my on the lower half, because in my mind I was like, yo, if something happens, I want to be ready. Looking
Right.
back, it's real comical because you don't really see
Right.
nobody doing that.
Right.
But it's just like it just kind of shows my mindset, man. And I felt like even while I was there, the Lord was challenging me because the summer before my last season, I didn't practice the whole summer. I didn't practice from June, July, August. I came back like the first week of September or maybe the last week of August. And I know I came back with a 2 week prep before our game because of my back. I messed my back up and I was out. And so I had to help my team in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I came back. Uh, I wasn't starting, but the first guy, he wasn't doing really well in terms of performance. So coach said, Keon, we need you in a game. And mind you, I didn't practice for like 3 months. I went in the game and I threw 5 touchdowns. Right. And that just let me know that there are things there's someone that is working beyond what,
Right.
I can even imagine because most times in football, training camp is the most important time of the year where you put in all the work that you can to reap the results, right?
Right.
And so in August, you think about farmers planting those seeds, planting those seeds. I didn't plant any seeds
Right.
in August, right? And I still was able to produce fruit. So I knew that was just all the Lord, and I played, the remainder of the season. I was able to get a scholarship to Hampton University. Things didn't go my way there from a football standpoint, but I still grew as a man. And then I finished up at Shaw University. After Shaw University, one of my junior college coaches, Jared Hensley, gave me a call out of nowhere. I didn't speak to him for about 3 years. He was like, "What do you want to do with your life?" And I felt like that was divine intervention as well, because
Mm.
we haven't talked. And so I told him, I was like, "Man, I kind of think I want to coach, but I don't want to do X's and O's in terms of like coaching on the field."
Right.
So I was like, "Let's go the strength and conditioning route," because I loved working out. I tore my ACL, fractured my wrist,
Wow.
herniated disc. Like I've been hurt, so I'm always rehabbing. I had 275 pounds fall on the back of my ankle, deep bone bruise. So I've been through the ringer, and so I was like, man, this is what I want to do. So I went down to Sam Houston State. I worked with Coach Parker, Coach Trevor. I mean, these the people that I consider family now. And so that was the year of my internship. Then after that, you know, COVID hit. Then I got into life insurance. That's how we met. You know what I'm saying? For that great 1 year that we
Yeah.
all worked together.
Hmm.
And then, I got back into the field, Delaware State, went back to Sam Houston State, went to JMU, and now I'm here at George Mason, man. So it's been a lot ever since, leaving New York. But, nonetheless, all the hard work is definitely paying off.
Man, that was deep, brother. That was
Yeah,
deep.
man.
Oh man, that was deep, man. Man, you said a lot, and there's a lot of things that I can relate to as well, right? Just from an athlete to an athlete, a man to a man. It's just things that I can relate to. But take me back, right? Because I know a kill probably watching right now, right? So,
Yeah,
um, but take me back to your childhood, right? Being a twin at that, right? Having a twin and developing that brotherly relationship, right? I know your mom. Shout out to your mom. So I know your mom was holding it down and inspired you guys to keep pushing.
absolutely.
Um, but tell me about the dynamic of being a twin at that, right? Did you ever feel like it was a competition thing? Because I know some people that have twins or siblings, they feel like, and y'all right there in age, right? So did
Yeah.
you ever feel like it was a competition level, or was it more like we in this together, we gonna push through, or was it at times or maybe it was a sense of I don't want to be in your shadow, or he didn't want to be in your shadow? Like, how was that dynamic of a relationship between y'all?
Yeah. Yeah, so growing up, we grew up in a single parent household. My father was in our life though, he just wasn't in the household. But it was tough from a standpoint of, my mom had to, she was going out to work early, coming in late. Thankfully we spent a lot of time at my grandmother's house.
Mhm.
Somebody that I love dearly. She's like my second mother. And so, my mother is like the backbone of our family, because she showed us what it was like to work hard. I always felt like it'd be a slap in my mother's face if we said we were going to do something and didn't give it our all, because like she gave her all for us in regard to providing and making sure that we had everything we needed. She went out her way to make sure, we went to private schools, uh, even if she had to pay, because she felt like she wanted to give us the best education and not the school around the block. Not saying anything was wrong with it. They probably weren't the best schools at the time. You know how it is.
Right.
But, I felt like that was my mom letting us know that she wanted the best for us. Growing up, Akil and I didn't have, we were very competitive.
Hmm.
Now that I think about it, I was competitive to the point of destruction. So if I lost, I'm throwing the controller, bro. I'm breaking CDs. I'm writing on his sneakers. Like, yo,
not
I'm
the
wilding, bro.
not
Like,
the writing on the sneakers. You was writing on the sneakers.
yeah, I was writing on his dunks, bro. I remember that till this day. I was wilding.
Akil, if you watching this, you need to be reimbursed, brother.
Yeah, so it was never like, I was in his shadows, because on the field we always were working together. So if I played quarterback, he was either receiver or running back.
Gotcha.
And we were just always working together and making sure that whatever we did, like, we were trying to be the best. So it just kind of makes me think back now. Shout out to Coach Roosevelt. He would pick us up before practice and we would like throw routes, do extra work, and all of those things kind of laid the groundwork for like who we are right now. And even in this very moment, because there's a lot of things that push you towards who you're becoming, and that was the start of seeing my mom go out there and work really hard, and then having coaches that really pushed us and showed us that you have to do more than what's required to be really good at what you do.
Man, I respect that, man. I'm the oldest, right? So I have me and my younger sister, we 8 years apart. So I don't really know what it is to really have someone that close in age and to be able to, I guess, communicate with on that certain level.
Yeah,
So,
facts.
so tell me, for those that might be in the same situation as me, I was always fascinated about, siblings that are close in age and yourself, being a twin. How important is it, having a sibling that's close in age or somebody that you can relate to or go to? I know you was writing on the sneakers and breaking into clothes and stuff like that, but how did that mold you as a man or just and as a brother?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. The one thing I would say is shout out to my mom. So there was one day I left the kill, and I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Or he left me, or somebody left somebody
Yeah.
on our way to school, and my mother went off. My mom's Jamaican, so she went off. She went off, and that left a mark on me. Like, we can't leave each other. And even now, where I'm at in my life, the one thing I'm thinking about is like community, man. Like community and accountability.
Well,
Is like you think about. I can't imagine what it's like to not grow up without a twin brother because I've had him my whole life. But the one thing I think most people struggle with is just being alone. And
mm,
so I realized that with my brother there, like, and the Bible talks about like a two-stranded cord is better than one.
but,
And I might be butchering that verse because it talks about, I forgot exactly what it's talking about, but that word just came back to my mind. But in my mind, I just see it as like community. And so if we were doing something together, it was gonna get done. So I was like, if we're gonna work out, like it's me and him. It's not me trying to like, trying to find all the motivation within myself to go work out. I could be like, yo, bro, you trying to go work out?
mm,
You trying to lift tomorrow? You trying to do this? You trying to do that? So it was a lot of us coming together, even to the point of us being in California and just working our tail off. There were times where I remember this one night specifically because we made a commitment to like either do like some core workouts or push-ups.
mm-hmm.
And my brother was like, yo, like you gotta get up and do it. And like he was really challenging me and I was like, yo, bro, like I'm not doing it. Like I don't feel like doing it. And it's crazy because I don't know if you remember, but it just makes me think about like how it's important to have somebody there that can remind you of what you said. Because a lot of times as people, we're really driven, but we often lack diligence because diligence is just saying I'm going to do it regardless of how I feel. And so I think having a twin was something that you know I just I just feel like I can't really see. I can't. It's hard for me to see the full weight of it because I'm so used to having him there. But I do know that it's something that like community and accountability is something that I don't take lightly in my life today, and I know that's a part of it.
Mm,
Yeah.
man, that's interesting, bro. Because like I said, I can't really relate. My sister and I, we're close. Given the fact that we 8 years apart, but it's still 8 years apart. When she was 10, I was 18, so I'm I'm doing God knows what.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that today. But let me ask you, right? Did that strengthen y'all because also you said earlier that your father was in your life but he wasn't in the household,
Hmm.
so did that force y'all to feel like, well, it's just really us, like we got to protect mom is protecting us but we got to protect her because there is no male in the house, so we got to be accountable and we got to stand on our word? Did y'all have that mindset growing up or did like later on y'all develop that?
Mm, I don't know, man. Like I just think about like growing up in New York. You just got to be vigilant
Right.
more than anything. You got to be on your P's and Q's. I just think we were just trying to survive.
Yeah.
We wasn't even thinking about protecting Mom Dukes. We just kind of knew like she just gonna come home.
Yeah.
Like there was never a time where somebody stepped to my mom or we felt like she was in danger.
Well,
I
I
just
mean protection from a standpoint of you seen all that she was doing.
Okay.
So did y'all feel obligated to give everything back to her? I know you said it a little bit
Oh, yeah, I see what
earlier,
you're saying.
right? So did you feel like she's giving us everything, and we don't have the father figure in our household to maybe show us that example? So did y'all feel like, that pressure was on you from a young age? Because I know some males, they'll feel like they had to be the man
Yeah,
early before they time. Did I know you can't really speak for him, but for yourself,
yeah.
did you feel that way? Did you feel any of that kind of pressure?
Uh, uh trying to think, man. I just knew that my moms just needed help.
Yeah,
So, just trying to lighten whatever load like around the house that needed to get done, like I don't know, like washing the dishes, like cleaning up, stuff like that. Like financially, I mean, I worked when I was a freshman in high school, but outside of that, it wasn't really till I got to college because at that point later on, I was just so focused on football. Um, but I think more so it was just from a standpoint of, like you said, like seeing all that she did, and just
hmm,
knowing that we have to repay her, or it's almost like we owe it to her, or I think I'm not finding the words to describe it right now, but it was almost like, just seeing the effort she puts out, and
right.
seeing how much she sacrificed for us. It I felt like it's deserving that we can put our best foot forward in whatever we're doing. Because like even now, as I'm thinking about it, my mother used to take us to all these different training sessions. At times, she would train with us, and I think that was monumental in my mother becoming the person she is today. Because now she loves to work out and train, right? So I think even in that, like my mother is such a warrior because she could have easily been like, "Nah, I'm not taking y'all. I'm tired." But she
True.
took us, and then she began to train as well. And so I just think like my mother having that, like that love for herself, like it spilled over onto us, and we were just able to, kind of return that favor in how we went about our business. Because me and Akil spoke about it when we went out to California. We made it about our business, not to come back empty handed. We done seen so many New York dudes go out and go back home because of poor decisions, bad company, uh, not being able to get through the day to day. So we just felt like we just had to make it right. And my father was there. He was around. He's like there's times he used to pick us up from school. He started to come to our games as we got older, and I just want to say like I love my pops.
For sure.
We have a great relationship. My pops, he's somebody that I really love, and I love the man that he is and how he loves all his children. He's Jamaican dude, so he got a lot of kids and
Yeah.
everything. So, you know, but yeah, man. So like, I'm not saying that to say like my pops wasn't there. Like I love my pops, but it was definitely just a stronger influence coming from my mother because she was there every single day.
And I respect that, man. Shout out to your pop too, right? So all the questions I'm asking as far as your mom, 'cause I know you mentioned her earlier, was just trying to get an understanding of, just how it had an impact on y'all and being in a single household. Because I know sometimes it can either make or break a person, right, or break
That's
kids.
true. Yeah.
Like for example, my father was in my life, but he worked most of the time, so I didn't
Yeah.
really see him like that. So my mom, for the most part, was taking me to all my games. I remember she said some craziness like I don't really remember this story, but she told me one time I was in a bowling league and my sister was dancing, and she took my sister to the she was supposed to be dropping my sister off to the dance school.
Hmm.
And we get in front of the dance school and she's like, Marquise, get out the car. I'm like, but this is not my stop. Get out the car. And she's like, yelling at me like, get out the
Yeah.
car. So I get out the car and she drives off and leave me in the middle of the street, right? And she takes my sister to the dance school. To the bowling alley. When she get to the bowling place, she realized that it was my sister in the backseat and it wasn't me. So she had to drive all the way back to pick us up. So so
Nah.
you said that your mom was when you said she was tired and she was doing all these things, I
Mhm.
can relate. My mom being that person with getting off work and still handling business. part of that, I'm just assuming part of seeing your mom's work ethic and still doing things, and your father, because I want to mention him as well too, still doing things. Because you said later on, he was coming to your games and stuff like that. Seeing them do things even when they didn't feel like doing
Yeah,
it, I think that can also be a big inspiration to y'all as watching that.
yeah.
And so, did when you saw that, did that when y'all saw that, and personally for you, how much of an impact did that have on you, as far as your work ethic?
In the moment, I didn't understand how much of a sacrifice it was.
Okay.
So as a child, I think for me, I'm just thinking that my mom is doing this because she kind of has to. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Because
Yeah.
as a kid, you don't have that much perspective to know that they don't feel like doing
Yeah.
this, and most parents aren't gonna do it.
Hmm.
It's not until I got older and I'm realizing, like, man, like my mom didn't have to, sign us up for this website to where we could get recruited, you
Wow.
know, or it wasn't like my mom didn't have to take us to this extra training session, or she didn't have to pay for this. She didn't have to let us go to school all the way in Brooklyn so we could be coached by our uncle, So I think it's a lot of, you know, my mom taking initiative and also just having faith,
Yeah.
and I think even to my pops, even going on to my pops side, my pops was dealing with a lot, man. He had a lot of, we have a lot of brothers and sisters, right? I didn't realize it until I started working construction, man. And I realized that like my pops worked hard for his money,
Yeah.
and based on the dynamics of the relationships that he had, like it wasn't easy to like come home, and then on Saturday you got to wake up early to go to an 8 o'clock game, and then you live in Jersey. Like it was hard, man. And growing up for even my parents, I know they didn't understand how to verbalize themselves in a way where they can say those things,
Wow.
because they couldn't say that to their parents.
Mm.
um and for my mother and my father, they were raised by people other than like their biological mother.
Yeah.
And Jamaican family. I don't think I spoke this much in my life, but mouth getting dry. But I don't like in Jamaican household. It's pretty common to be raised by someone else,
Wow.
and so they're just doing the best that they can.
Wow.
And so that's something that I can reflect on and know that my parents were just doing the best that they can.
Yeah.
They were making the necessary sacrifices, whether it was in my favor or not. And so there's no reason for me as a grown adult now to play victim, because I can reflect and see that, because no parent like wants to hurt their child. Like if their child wants bread, they'll give them bread, right? If their child wants water, they'll give them water, right? But we're also dealing with somebody that has their own trauma, right? So has their own trauma, has their own successes and failures, and even has their own goals and dreams that they want to reach, right? So I think for me, it just took some time to really understand the sacrifices that my mother was making. Like it's not common.
Mm.
It's not like it's not as much
Wow.
as you want to say like, well, yeah, if you want to help them get to the XYZ, and you have your goals and dreams, once your parent want to, well, nah, all parents just won't do that,
Wow.
but I appreciate my mom. She's my superhero. Without her, I definitely won't be who I am today, putting me in circles where, me and my brother could be nurtured by other men like sons of Jacobs at our church. On Saturday when we had to go there, it was out of football season, had to get nurtured, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
by other men that wasn't my pops, and I didn't really feel no way about it. And the beautiful thing I always loved is I never felt no way about my pops not being in the house. And I know for a lot of people that brings a lot of trauma, but I thank the Lord that that wasn't my experience, because I knew that my pops loved us.
Wow.
But I also knew that there was stuff that he didn't give us, but the Lord was also gracious to have other people in our life that can give us those things. And it came through the form of sons of Jacobs, football coaches, uh, you know, and even as I got older, like, one of my former coaches, he bought me my first suit when I got to Hampton. And there's just other people in my life that just continue to pour into me. So I'm just gracious, man, that when you trust in the Lord, all things work for the good of those that love the Lord. All things don't work for the good of those just because you want good things to happen. But I think if you trust in the Lord, He'll take ingredients that might be really bad by themselves, but he's sovereign, so he puts them all together, and he can definitely make it work.
Man, man, shout out to, again, shout out to your mom, shout out to your father, and shout out to all the men that actually stepped up as well too. And I always say, man, especially having little boys, I mean little girls too, you know what I'm saying, but especially having little boys is so important to have, if the father's not in the household, to surround that little boy with men that are structure and discipline, because that molds the character of a young man,
Sure.
coming to be. But take me this, right? I'm interested to know, when did football get started? Like, how did you get introduced to football? Like, when did that come about?
All right, so football, man. So growing up, me and Akil, so as you know, we Jamaican, so by default, we got to play soccer first. My older brother played soccer, went to college, got a scholarship or whatever. So we in soccer, we hated it. We get on the field, we don't run, we don't do nothing. Basketball now is like what I would consider my first love. Like, loved basketball, but like it was just slow. You know what I mean? Like we didn't really have the skill set. We was like 6 and 7. We played at
Mm,
Impact right up the street at Springfield Park, and then we
shout
played at St.
out,
Huh?
I said shout out to
Yeah,
Impact.
shout out to Impact. Then we played CYO at St. Clair's
Yeah.
with my little niece. She played there too. And then I found out my cousin Kadeem, shout out to Kadeem. He played football for 1 year with the Roselle Jets. Or I think he either got signed up or he played a year. And then my mom was like, "Yo, I'm signing y'all up for football." It was like, all right. The first year I hated it. I hated practice. I hated helmets. I hated hitting. I hated the sprints. I hated it all. I was like, "Yo, I'm not coming back." Like we used to cry. Like I can't remember. I used to cry not to go to practice. Like I don't want to go. Yeah, I remember this like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
We played the Brooklyn Skyhawks. I'm at nose guard, and like they put me in the play. Akil was nice. He had like 30 something tackles that year. He counted his tackles. He was nice. I was at nose guard, and I remember like yesterday. They said hut. It parted like the Red Sea. Boom! I smacked the boy.
Uh-huh.
Ball came out. My uncle was at the game. I'm like, yeah, I'm coming back next year. Y'all done messed up. I was like, yo, I'm nice. Y'all bugging. So we pulled back up the next year, and after that, it was history, man. Like I played tight end. I still ain't blocked nobody, but I played tight
Yeah.
end. The next year, I was third string quarterback. But the following years, and it was when I think our skill set or like just the love of the game really took off. And after that, we kind of just been known as the twins, man.
Mm.
And we just been rocking ever since. So, when we got to high school, we were on a really good team my last year. All throughout high school, I think we were on good teams, man. My last year was on a really good team. We lost one regular season game, and then we lost in the semifinals. But it's funny because after that year, I remember we was all in the locker room and we were so distraught because we worked as hard as we could work. We did all these things that we think will guarantee us success, right? So I remember thinking to myself, I was like, "Yo, bro, like, I'm like, I quit, like, I'm done, bro, like, because I never worked that hard in my life, and in my mind, I thought that if you gave something everything you had, you will get what you want, which
Right.
is what most people think, right?
Right.
And sometimes it does work out that way, but that's not necessarily true. When you work as hard as possible, it gives you a chance. It
Right.
doesn't give you the end result.
Right.
And so for me, that was a wake up call because it made me realize that first off, like there's more work to be done. And I learned a valuable lesson in life. Like just because you work hard doesn't guarantee you anything. And then the next year, Coach Mike Rasmussen said something that sticks with me till this day. He said, on this level in collegiate and college football, you will do more work for less reward. And when I
Mm.
heard that,
That's,
I
that's
felt like
hard.
he was
I
giving
need
me
you to say that
gold.
one more time. Hold on.
He said
I'm gonna
you
hit you.
will do more work
I gotta write
for
that.
less reward. You know what I mean? So for me, I felt like that was gold because I'm like, I got the answers to the test. I was like, so none of y'all dudes gonna outwork
Yeah.
me. Straight up and down. Like none of y'all gonna outwork me and that's it. And so after that, I was just like, even my own coach was counting me out. He was like, yeah, Keon, do you want to go play another position with your brother? I'm like, yeah, I'll try it out, but like I'm gonna be the starting quarterback anyway. Like, I don't know why you wasting your time. You know what I'm saying? And so I just knew that them dudes wasn't gonna outwork me because I just knew deep down what I wanted. I knew that it was gonna take another bad dude in front of me to really get after it. And even with that being said, I wasn't the best quarterback on the team. There was another guy in front of me that if he went down towards ACL. If he didn't go down, he would have been a starting quarterback, right? But I just say all that to say this: the Lord is sovereign. The Lord isn't sovereign because he tore his ACL. The Lord is sovereign because even though he tore his ACL, when he came back 2 years later, they won a conference championship. They went undefeated,
Oh wow.
right? So he went down, and I was able to step up. But if I didn't have that mindset, I wouldn't have been able to step up
Mm.
because I probably been like, oh, he's starting. Oh, coach, he playing him because of this, and I'm in the back whining and complaining. But a lot of times, well, oftentimes people forget that at the end of the day, like you still have to develop regardless of your circumstance.
Right.
And so I knew that. I just knew that, and I knew that I had to compete, and that's what I love to do. And so, even in spite of that, you know, football, I think is something that it gave it gave me the opportunity to learn a lot of valuable lessons
Mm.
because I used to say like football changed my life. I don't think it changed my life. I just think it provided a lot of trials and tribulations to help me build my character because I think there's nothing more important in this world than our character. And oftentimes we can get blinded by money, fame, status, possessions, and all these other things,
Right.
right?
Right.
But I remember when I was in college and I tore my ACL and I'm going on to my 6th year of college. At this point, I'm tapped,
Right.
bro. I'm like, yo, I'm tired. And I remember I was in the training room and I was like, Lord, like, is this all gonna work out?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it what is this for? Like, and I remember like the Lord just kind of challenging me, or I felt challenged in the moment. Like you will be rewarded in your character.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just put my head down and just continue to give it all I got. Because at the end of the day, like I may not go to the NFL, we may not win the championship or whatever, but I know like I'm gonna be a better man. And that's kind of like what football did for me, man. Like I think it just helped, gave me an opportunity to mold my character in ways that just going to school couldn't. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I love that, man. Um, Ever since I met you, you've been like a humble, modest guy, right? Been real.
Yo, you got me weak.
even even as you speak, the modesty is there, the humbleness is there. But I was paying attention to the chat. There's somebody in here said that you was nice, that you was fine, you was not to be played with. So I'm gonna ask you, right? At what point in time did you realize you was him on that field? I need to know. Was it a play? Was it a year? At what point in time
Yo,
did
you
you
got me
realize that
there.
you was him, man?
Yo, you got me there, bro. I ain't gonna front. Like, I'm also the type of person, like, I'm so hard on myself.
Oh,
Like, I tell you my best game. So, my best game, I feel like it was. All right, so this is funny because my best game was actually the week. So, when I was in junior college, we got like offensive player of the week, defensive player of the week. So Akil got defensive player of the week and I got offensive player of the week. We played Reedley College. This point in the season, like our team, like we were awful. I think we won like 4 games, lost like 6 or whatever.
mm,
And all we wanted to do was win. And so we go play a very famous quarterback that now plays in the NFL that no one knew about at the time. His name is Josh Allen. And so plays for the Buffalo Bills, right? So we go play Reedley College and I go out there and I just like it's like I'm in that mode, right? I had 5 touchdowns, and I'm just like, yo. And for me, it was dope because I don't think I had that good of a game up until that point in the season. But it was also funny because after the game, like we do like an end of the game prayer,
mm-hmm.
and like my coach called on me to pray, and I was so happy we won. I started crying, and he goes, "Amen." like, like for me, like winning was that important as a player. Like, and it's funny because I tell people now, and I think it was just hard for me to balance as a player because I'm really competitive if I'm doing something, and I think it's easier for a coach because I know I'm somewhat detached. I didn't have as much fun with the game as I wish I should have. I
Mm,
wish I should. I wish I would have had a little bit more fun. I was very militant. I was very like,
done.
I was super locked in, but I can't remember many practices where I was just like laughing. You know what I'm saying? And I was just it just meant so much to me, which is good, right? It still means a lot to me even as a coach. But for me, I think my way of like sticking up for the young Keon is just having fun now even as a coach.
Right.
And so I think I definitely, if I have any regrets, it's just I wish I would have had a little bit more fun. I would have smiled a little more. I would have just had some more effort moments on the field, and you know what I'm saying, just to see what happens. But nonetheless, I think football definitely was. I think I was very successful in terms of just as a football player. You know, you can't say there's a lot of people that can't say they threw 20 plus touchdowns in 2 seasons in junior college. Maybe
Right.
there is, maybe there isn't. But, you know, coming out of New York City, it also meant a lot to me that I was from New York City playing football. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like a lot of quarterbacks don't come out of our city. It's always these other players. And for me, I just wanted to prove myself right because I knew I could do it. And you know, it's just something that I just wanted to do. I wanted to play football at a high level. Still did that. You know, my last year, you know, I still think I had over 20 touchdowns, but nonetheless, man, I think it was just a lot of just overcoming, man, overcoming, and you know, I know you want me to brag right now, but
Right.
but I
I
don't
just
know,
want
man. Like it's hard.
because I was getting ready to say so what it sounds like to me is that this the game that you realized you was him. Like this was the game
Yeah,
you
yeah,
realized. Like, oh,
yeah, precisely, bro. That was the game, and like I ain't gonna front. That game put a battery in my back because that whole off season I was working hard,
yeah,
well, a little bit too hard, and then the first weight room session back is when I hurt myself because I was already tired
right.
from like overworking. But yeah, man, like that was definitely the game where I realized that I could do something special, man. So,
Man,
but
man,
yeah.
man, you started crying, started tearing up, man. I know it was just like tears of joy. Like, yeah, look, I actually we did it, we
We
won.
did
I feel
it.
it's almost felt like you won the championship in a sense. But it's interesting, right? Because I think not that I think you said that one of the things that you regret is just having more fun with it.
Yeah.
And as you said that, it reminded me of Kobe Bryant in a sense, right? He had the famous interview where he was like, "What is there to be happy about? Job is not done."
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like that? Like the job wasn't done? Even like, say for example, like the game that you won, you was able to celebrate
Yeah.
and you had your moment. But then everything after that was still intense for you. Practice still intense for you. Not really laughing. You not. Did you have that mindset like, okay, that was a moment, but the job is still not done?
Yeah. Yeah. I felt, yeah, I struggle with that till this day. Like I'll do something and in my mind it's like, all right, like yeah, I did that. Like let's move on to the next thing. And so yeah, as an athlete, I would say I struggle with that. I think it's a good struggle. I just think I needed, I guess, I would say as I got older, I was a little bit better about it. Maybe I can't really remember, but I just know I just struggled with like, I think it was because I was just so focused on winning, bro. Like, and because, well, here's the thing: as a quarterback, I feel like I just took it personal. Like, if we
Mm,
lost, bro, like I took it personal
uh,
because, like, even if you look at the headlines, they gonna interview what they gonna interview. Let's say Bill Belichick.
right.
Kill, but shit ain't sweet. Yeah, shit ain't sweet. Like, especially for
Right.
me. Like, all right, so let me give you some context.
Okay.
In JUCO, bro, like I would have games where I throw like 2 picks, 1 fumble. That was like one of my worst games. But like if I'm throwing picks and we lose, like I'm like, oh my God, bro. Like them picks, and like I just get in my head. And so I'm like, nah, I got more work to do. So it's like I'm constantly reminded of, all right, we won, but like, yeah, you still ain't play your best game. Which I think is a good thing. I think it's a good internal struggle to have, because most people they have a good game and they think, they're God's gift. Uh and so I think I did struggle with it, but I think it's a good struggle to have though.
I think a lot of times in being an athlete, right, and being very competitive, you kind of like carry that with you with everywhere you go, and
Oh
it's almost by default. Like
yeah.
sometimes it's second nature to you. So, what advice would you give to the younger athletes? I know you say it's a good thing, but I know sometimes it's a hard balance because no, it's almost because you say you wish that you would have had more fun with it. Sometimes not being too I guess too hard on yourself at
Yeah.
moments. How do you think um, athletes nowadays can have that balance and still? Because I heard Shannon Sharp say like when you striving for greatness, it's hard to have a balance. It's one way. All right, like there's
Yeah.
no turn off switch. It's like
Yeah.
once I'm on that field, I'm locked in,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
but I'm in practice mode, I'm locked in. So how do you tell the young athletes to enjoy? Because this don't last forever.
Yeah. I mean, so as you were speaking, it made me think of like priorities. So think you have to have you have to know what your priorities are, because sometimes people will try to do football, like they'll try to do their sport and then like have a social life and then like put school on the back burner, and then like so you'll have athletes that are like shuffling between their sport and then everything else on the back end, and then like the struggling to manage school with their social life, and then like they start to impact their back like the football or the basketball, and they're not working as hard because they're focused on this area, and then they got the girls, and then they got the lit parties or whatever. So I think for me, like I always knew what I wanted. Like I always knew like I wanted to be known as a really good football player coming out of New York City. I wanted to be a successful quarterback, and I wanted to go D1. Like
Wow.
that's like I wanted that to be my legacy, right? Is it? I don't know, and personally, I really don't care.
Right.
Like I feel like I've grown past that. Uh, I guess I ain't gonna say it's shallow, but at the time it meant everything. But or like that small perspective of life. So for athletes, what I would say, I would just say, look yourself in the mirror.
Okay.
A lot of athletes tend to cast blame and say this coach don't like me, he not playing me. Oftentimes, like there's something that needs to be fixed, right?
Hmm.
It can be either your skill set, it can be something that requires no talent, it can be your attitude, it could be your coachability, teachability, whatever it is.
Right.
Regardless, though, this is something that I believe if every athlete can apply this, it can help them get on the field, on the court, without having all the necessary tools and skills. You can control your attitude, your response, and your effort. If
Mm.
I'm approaching this practice with the right attitude, then that means if somebody says something to me and they're coaching me up, I'm naturally going to have the right response because I want to win and I want to get better. If someone tells me something, yo, when you run it down on kickoff, make sure you I don't know, like you go through their right shoulder, or make sure that when you're setting the screen, like you get there and you roll hard to the basket. I know that because I have the right attitude and I want to win, and I'm not thinking about whatever, right? I'm locked in. I'm gonna have the right response. I bet, and I know that I'm gonna make sure that my effort is in alignment with all those things. And so, I see it as a coach. I see guys that may not have all the talent. They may not have all the bag that you got. They may not have the God given jumping ability. They may not have whatever is Instagram worthy, but they got the right attitude, they got the right response, and they got the right effort. And for me, I think if an athlete can take that on the court, I think you'll be okay. Now, what I think athletes are going to struggle with in the mindset aspect is It's blaming things on the coach, because then when you no longer have a coach, you now have a boss. When you
Mm.
no longer have a boss, you now have a spouse. When you no longer have a spouse, you now have kids. And so like you're gonna continue, and then like you become, like it begins to spiral. It just begins to spiral into a life that is not fruitful. I think as men, right, we have to just take accountability and say like, yeah, bro, I've been BSing. Like this is something I need to change. And
Yeah.
I, just have that conversation, have that, sense of reality with yourself in terms of looking yourself in the mirror and reflecting on your actions and being real. Like, yeah, that was some dumb shit, bro. Like, I don't know why I did that. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that again. And
Yeah.
even if like, yeah, I know, like, like those my boys, but at some point you just got to be able to cut it off and walk away. So I think everything that I just said is the hard road. Because
Right.
the easy road is like, yeah, bro, like, yeah, coach, he not on my side. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like that's the road that's packed. Everybody, that's the easy road. Everybody could go that way. You know what I'm saying? But the road that I just talked about is the hard road, and that road is less traveled. That road has less people. It's you have less friends. Sometimes you have to detach yourself from those people. Not saying you don't hang out with them, not saying that those ain't your teammates, but like you have a different perspective. And so like because your perspective is different, you may go 15 minutes before practice to do XYZ. You may go watch film. You may talk to coach and be like, yo, I want to do this or I want to do that. And I think everybody can get there. That journey looks different for everybody. I wasn't there every I wasn't there every day of my life, right? But I do know that it just comes down to priorities. Like if basketball or football is important and winning is important, I think you naturally have to put yourself under subjection to like coaching and being able to receive correction and criticism and all those different things. And then I think as athletes, the beautiful thing about all of this is that you have the opportunity to endure those things. Most
Mm.
people that are just in school, the only thing you're enduring is an A or a B. You know
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I gotta study harder. But like as an athlete, like you have to deal with conflict. You have to deal with confrontation. You have to deal with like, bro, like growing up, you didn't like to go address somebody, but now like you're the quarterback of the team. You need to address this person. So I think just sport alone gives these athletes the beautiful opportunity to see themselves and see just another side of the coin and how they can respond in spite of their limited perspective. So regardless of whether you're there as an athlete, you're on a road that is traveled by many, or you're on the road that is traveled by few. Like you still have a beautiful opportunity to do both,
Sure.
because you're in a space where you can always decide like, hey, I'm going to reinvent myself today. You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
that was beautifully said, man. I couldn't have said it any better than you, man. But my biggest takeaway from that is accountability is a necessity for growth. Being able to look at yourself in the mirror is the only way. It's one of the key ingredients for growth. And I think a lot of times we struggle with that. But sometimes we also, it's important to also have that good support system that, you don't have a whole bunch of yes men in your corners
Yeah,
that can act like you have your coaches that can actually tell you what the truth is.
yeah,
Right. We get into your coaching. I want to talk about something real quick, if you don't mind. Um, your injury, right? So I know you had this big vision and dreams to go to the NFL. And I'm sure because when I met you, you was still big on your faith, right? Um,
yeah,
how much of a role did that injury play or have on you? And then how much of your faith had to kind of? I know earlier you spoke about your mom,
hmm
put battery in your back, so either you're going to quit or you're going to rely on faith. How was that? How did that faith supersede the negative thoughts? Because a lot of us we battle with those thoughts.
yeah. Um, so I'm laughing right now. I'm laughing because my man's that commented, Almari, that's my guy, man. So I mean, that's my brother.
Shout out.
So I remember being in his room
Hmm.
and telling him like, yo, bro, I think I'm gonna quit. I was like, yo, bro, I think I'm gonna quit football, dog. Like, I can't walk. Like, it was just tough, man. Like, it's tough because. So it's so funny, man. So I told him, I was like, yo, bro, I think I'm gonna quit. And the one thing, as I got older, I always felt like as an uncle that has like, I'm an uncle. I got a lot of nieces and nephews, so I'm an uncle, right? I felt like for me to have an impact in the lives of my nieces and nephews when they'll need me the most or when they'll seek guidance, I can't tell them what it's like to persevere through a tough time in life if I quit.
Mm.
So I remember thinking about all these things in his room, and I remember I made the decision. I was like, yo, I'm gonna go all in. I remember like in that moment, the same moment I wanted to quit, later on in this room, I realized I was like, I'm gonna just go all in and give it to God because I know that like nothing is too hard for God. You,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like nothing is too hard for God, and nothing is impossible. Like there's no lack in the kingdom of heaven. Like God ain't come here with a fat investment account. He came here as, the King of Kings, and there was no lack. You think about somebody that can heal someone, like Warren Buffett, Elon Musk. They can't heal anyone.
Right.
If you can heal someone, like you're rich,
Right.
right? In terms of uh, just in terms of like the kingdom of heaven, and so that's kind of what it makes me think about. But just going back to your question, uh, yeah. So I thought about my nieces and nephews, and I just made a decision I'm gonna go all in. And throughout that moment, well, throughout that process of me tearing my ACL and the recovery, I felt like that was probably one of the times I really was close to God in terms of like the everyday. Because you think about like whenever you're suffering, either like you're having negative thoughts, but if you're aware of who God is, like you're talking to him more because you're like, Lord, man, like, Lord, I really need you to help me right here. Or like, Lord, how am I going to do this? And so I was in the word, and I think this was kind of like what set me up to like really have what it's like to really have a life of devotion. And so, I'm in the word more. I'm trying to find encouragement. You know, I'm just trying to do whatever it's gonna take for me to be encouraged and uplifted, because like coming back from the ACL is it's a hard thing to do. But even in that, I had a really fast recovery. I had surgery in September. I, I was jumping by like December, which is kind of crazy. Shout out to Coach Hall, my strength coach. He helped me a lot in that regard. Uh, and then by March, I was back on the field with my team practicing. I wasn't getting hit, but I was doing everything that they were doing, sprinting, doing drills, 7-on-7, all those different things. And so, my faith in throughout that time, I just felt like I developed like real devotion with God in terms of like just talking with him daily. And, you know, I don't know, it's kind of hard to verbalize, but I just felt like we just grew in
Yeah.
relationship. We just grew in relationship. Yeah.
Man. But anytime I talk to you, man, I start getting goosebumps, man. You start to like.
It's cold in there.
um, so I mean, I love that, man, because a lot of times we battle between our faith and the vision and the purpose and our commitment of what God wants us to do and things of that nature. So to see you persevere through that is second to none. Now, some people don't know how I met you, right? So I don't know if you remember the day that how we met, but I remember we met at I think it was a gathering, and I remember walking into the house, and at the time I didn't know the wave, the Keon, you know what I'm
Oh
saying? I
yeah,
knew Keon,
yeah. And
yeah,
my Rasta.
yeah, yeah. Keon had the dress, but your
Rasta man.
if my memory serves me correctly, I remember when I walked into the house, your back was turned. So the only thing I saw was your shoulders, right? And I was like, "Who is this? Guy? Who is this guy?" You know, because everybody, you know, people used to always compliment me on my shoulders, but it was nothing compared to yours. And I was like, who is this dude right here? And then, and I said, yeah, he definitely got to like play football or something, right? And so he got to play football. And we, you know, I was in, you know, we was in the financial industry. I don't think you was a part of it at that
Yeah,
moment,
not at the
right?
time.
So, and so I remember us sitting down, and I know a few of us would kept asking you, you gonna join us, man? You gonna come into the business or what? And you was like, I don't know. You know, it was kind of like, I don't know, like that
Yeah,
you know, the hesitation. So talk to me about that, right? Because I know you went through the injuries and stuff like that. What was the transition for you? Like, what made you? Because I don't think I really ever asked you that. What
yeah,
made you, you know, jump ship and come into the financial industry?
yeah. Shoot, hard times.
Keeping
Nah,
it real,
but
keeping it
yeah,
real.
hard times, man. I mean, you know, it was so we went to the gathering. It was around Christmas. I think it was like a Christmas party or something like that. Because I remember either the next day or at some point there was a BPM that I went to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so fast forward, that was like December, or yeah, like December. Fast forward, COVID happens, and it's May, and so I leave Texas because I'm interning at Sam Houston State, and then I go to Jersey because New York was crazy at the time, so I was staying with my father in Jersey. And matter of fact, let's go back. So I remember my brother told me about this opportunity.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, like you'll learn about finances, like talk about life insurance and how your money grows and all these different things, how money works. And I remember I was in the weight room at St. Lucia State and I was on the phone with a kid. And I remember walking out the office and I was like, yo, bro, I don't want to know about none of that. Like, I'm good. Because as people, if we're insecure about something, oftentimes we try to shield ourselves. So
Right.
I was illiterate when it came to money, and I was insecure because I was financially insecure.
Right.
So in that moment, as me saying that, I realized like, nah, bro, like this is something you might need to like tap into because like I ain't know nothing about money. You know, I heard growing up, I heard save your money. Like that's what Jamaicans say. You feel me? Like that's it. That's all I heard,
Right.
bro. Save your money.
Uh-huh.
Like hope for the best. So I knew like it's something I needed to learn. And so, fell on hard times. It's COVID. At this point, I think I'm 25. I'm 25 because I graduated school the year before because I did 6 years. And so I'm like, yo, bro, I'm 25 years old. I don't know nothing about money. I got no bread right now. It's COVID. I'm down bad. I was like, yo, I'm about to just get into this because something got to shake. So I started studying. I knew I could get everything down because I know how to study. I know my studying style, and I know I can retain information. And so, studied, went and took the test, passed, and then, we was rocking from there. So really, most of it just came down to, hard times, wanting to increase my financial capacity in terms of knowledge, and then just wanting to make some money, man. At that point in my life, I never really made any type of money, just because I was playing football most of my time and then interning. So whatever money I had saved up was gone. So I was just down bad.
Man. Listen, I ain't gonna lie. I think a lot of us was down
Oh
bad,
God.
and we needed something to
Oh.
move. We needed something to move for sure.
Nah,
Uh,
facts.
you know, so tell me, right? Because I was there during the process, but for those that don't know, I watched you come into the business, and took a little bit of time, but again, you was very good at retaining information to the point where you started helping other people. This is the thing that people don't know, right? You started helping other people pass their exams and
Yeah,
studying things to help them get their license.
yeah,
Uh, Now I know you said when you first came in, you was insecure about finances, looking at your own situations, right? So they always say if you really want to know how smart you are when it comes to money, open up your bank account, right?
right.
So and it'll reveal who you are financially. Being in the business at that time, how did that have an impact on you? Now, what did you start to take away from it? Like, did the insecurity start to diminish a little bit now because now you have more of an awareness of how your money can work for you, and now I ain't gonna pull out your business, but I know you was making a little something, son. You know what I mean? So how was that new perspective for you?
I think it was just honestly it was just an overload of information. So for me, so if I go back to that time, I'm learning about how your money grows, uh, like how to invest your money, compounding interest. I'm learning about the rule of 72, all these different things, right? And so even at the time, I remember got like people was getting like the PPP and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm not, just disclaimer, I'm not about to incriminate myself, but I didn't get a PPP, right? So I got an SBA, right? So got an SBA loans at the time I had no money, and so whatever amount of money I got like was gone in like a month or two, and I look back and I'm like, bro, and at the same time, I didn't. I didn't really save any of the money. Like I was just like, yo, y'all hungry? Like, yo, we trying to go eat. Yo, I got y'all. Yo, I'm moving like a drug dealer, bro. I'm like, yo, y'all good? I need to eat. Nah, so me, bro. Like, I'm moving crazy just because I got like this money that I think is not gonna go because I'm in the business. I'm like, all right, like I just spent that. Like, I'm gonna sell a policy, get it back.
Yeah.
So even in that, bro, like I never had I never had like good amount of cash in my account or whatever. So I was still, I was, I guess you could say I was financially, what's the word? Uh, it was like a financial illusion,
Mm,
just because I thought that this money would keep coming back, even though it wasn't even my money.
right.
Right. So I just think that it took some time for it to sink in, honestly. Uh, but I think the more I learned and the more I read, the more I became inquisitive, and I just think over time, like even now, like I'm still, reading books on finances and making sure that I understand where I need to put my money. So I think at the time it was just an overload of information, and I didn't really quite understand the entire picture because I think it's hard to I think naturally you have to look at things holistically. So if I'm thinking about like working out and training hard, this is just going to be my example. Oftentimes you can look at, oh, well, you need to do this exercise or you need to do this
Right.
exercise. But there's so much other components, like how are you sleeping? How are you eating?
Right.
How are you recovering? Are you stretching? Are you foam rolling? Are you are you taking proper rest periods? Are you killing yourself with volume? Are you taking a deload week? How's your training frequency?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many different variables, and I think in finances is like it's like that way as well. So I think we were looking at finances like this, almost like Cyclops, right? But we needed to be looking at it like I don't know, like freaking Spider-Man in a web,
Right.
like see the whole
See the
the
whole.
whole bundle of things. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it took some time for me to see the whole picture. And so, yeah, I just think that's kind of how I see it now.
Oh man, that's good, man. Because I tell you, when I came into business, I saw the plaques on people's walls. Like, you made 60,000 in a month now. We
Yo,
need what I
yo,
gotta do to get
them
to this.
plaques, boy, I was like, nah, let me get to this work.
Yeah. So, and I didn't realize how financially illiterate I was until I started to open up them books, and then you look at the trajectory of your family and the dynamics of your family situations and stuff like that, and you're like, man, we really don't know nothing because, as you said, growing up, and you said being Jamaican, but I think it's almost like it's universal in the black
Yeah,
community.
universal, yeah.
Yeah, that it's just save your money,
Save your money.
but
That's it.
no one
Hey,
tells us where to
right,
put it.
right.
Um, Now, again, I watched you in the business, and for some reason, my spirit. And I never told you this, right? But my spirit always, and you end up confirming it, but my spirit always told me that it for you. Like, not finances wasn't it for you, but the business in itself wasn't it for you.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like your voice needed to be, or your presence needed to be somewhere else, and that God used you in that season so that way you can gain the wisdom and the knowledge and take it somewhere else. Because I remember I don't know if we was in Cali or somewhere, but we was somewhere. And
Yeah.
I remember us being in a van. We was in the van.
Yeah. That's when we went to San
Yeah.
Diego. Yeah.
And I remember asking you a question. And I think at that point you was kind of like frustrated with the business and how things was going, or just where your heart was, the posture of your heart was at. And I remember you telling me, you said, bro, there's nothing that's really keeping me tied here. Like, verbatim, that's what you said,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you was like, there's nothing that's really keeping me tied here. And I said, well, what is it that you're gonna do? And you said, really, truthfully, I might just go back to like coaching and, or go back into my field of things of that nature. What without because I know there's a lot that went on behind scenes, but without talking about the politics of it,
Yeah.
but where were you at, the posture of your heart, and the reason why you came up with that decision of like, there's nothing that's really holding me tight. So if I make this decision today, I'm really good with taking that chance.
Yeah. Overall, at that point in my life, I done moved and made so many different stops that like making another move, if it was necessary or warranted, it was gonna get done. Overall, when it came to the business, it was more so like from an integral standpoint. I didn't like the once so it took some time for me to understand certain things within the business, but once I realized like what it was all for, it's almost like you pick up the Bible, you read through the whole Bible, it's like, what is this all about? And then
Right.
somebody comes to you and gives you the gospel. Oh, because Jesus Christ, he came on earth as fully God and fully
Mm-hmm.
man. Uh, he died and he rose 3 days later. Um, and as a result of that, your sins can be forgiven. And so I'm in the business and I'm like, all right, like I'm doing all this, selling the policies, BPM, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what is this all about? And I'm realizing like, oh, the points. How do you get more points? So XYZ policy. All right, well, like how does XYZ policy work? And like, are we really trying to help people, or are we just trying to like make sure that when we get on the leaderboards, like our name is at the top? Like
Mm.
we pushing people into things that may not be best for them in their future. Like we putting people in the box just so that we can be on the top and XYZ and whatever, right? So for me, it just came down to like, what is this really all about?
Right.
And for me, I just always knew that I had enough confidence to know that if I'm done with something and I feel like in my heart that this doesn't align with who I am, then it definitely don't align with what God has for me, right? And
Mm.
so that's why I was just like, bro, like nothing is tying me to this, and that's how I felt. And it wasn't easy because even when I got out the business, what 2021 is 2025, like 2021, bro, I was Instacart, DoorDash, like I was sticking and moving. I was outside. I was
Making
delivering
it happen.
groceries, bro.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's crazy to say because in 2023, I got my first full-time job in this business where for most people, like at that time, they busting their butt in the weight room, and I'm outside, like, I'm hustling and trying to get it. Right. And like I'm selling whatever. Like I sold yeah, bro, I was on Instagram Marketplace driving to New Jersey, selling my guitar. Like I was just trying to get to it any way I can. And to get back into this business, bro, I applied to one job. Most people gotta apply to mad jobs, which is normally how it goes. But this is how I know like God had a hand in like where he wanted me to be. The job I applied for, I didn't even get it
Mm-hmm.
initially. But my old athletic trainer in college worked at Delaware State where I applied for. I didn't even know.
Right.
So he put in the work because he was with me the whole time I tore my ACL. He seen me in my high and my low. You feel me? So if there's anybody that can speak to my character, it's him. You know what I'm saying? And like the Lord showed me like, be, because of who you are, I'm gonna show you who I am.
Wow.
Like you don't think that I can, like your faith, that I can use your mustard seed faith and give you what you want for your good, but I can use it for my glory. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I remember one of my mentors, Coach Parker, he called me. The day he called me, he was like, yo, I think you need to get back into the field. I was like, yeah, bro, I applied to a job today. I applied to one job, bro. I got it. I mean, it was a part-time position, right?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like I got it. And because in my mind, I was like, bro, there's no way I can get back into the field without doing like a unpaid internship, you know? And it turned out to be a paid one. And so, yeah, man, that's kind of like the journey. So it was just from an integrity standpoint, it just didn't align with once I saw what it was all about. I was like, yeah, I can't do this. And then I remember we even went, my brother and I, we went to what is it? Family First Life, another FFL, yeah, Family First Life Insurance, yeah. So we went to another place, and I was like, yo, bro, I can't do this neither. Like, I can't see myself. Like, yo, bro, it's crazy when I think about it. I'm driving to New Jersey because we did like house calls with FFL, so you got to like drive to people crib, like, and if you did like the cold, I forgot what you call it, but like when you just walk up to people crib, you got the information, you knock on their door, you know, you sell them a policy. Bro, it was so much. Like I remember I went somewhere in Queens, got a flat tire, missed my appointment. Like, bro, it was crazy. Like going everywhere in parts
Yeah.
in Jersey I didn't even know about. Like knocking on people's door. One time I thought I saw a ghost. I said, nah, I'm going home.
That's all.
I'm in neighborhoods. I don't feel comfortable. Like all of just try to get a dollar. And I'm like, nah, bro, I can't do this for another week. Like I'm done with this. So yeah, like, and just realizing like that just wasn't for me. You know what I mean? Like there's things that's for you, there's things that's not. That wasn't for me. But I knew I needed to get back in the strength and conditioning. Shout out to my pops, man. My pops, like if I tell him I want to do something, like he gonna be on me about it. He gonna keep asking.
Right.
Like that's what he do for all of us. Like he
Right.
just tapped in. He was like, yo, when you gonna get your certification? I'm like, yo, bro, chill. Like chill, bro.
Right.
He just kept being on me about it, man. So, you know, I got my certification and even, you know, I just got my master's in December and he kept asking me, yo, when you gonna finish up your master's, man? Like, I believe in you. I know you could do it. When I was down with myself on the comp exams, which is like the big comprehensive test at the end, you know, he was encouraging me and instilling faith in me. So, you know, definitely appreciate him for that. So, yeah, man, that's just kind of what it is right there.
Man, you know, I commend you because most people they don't get to that level because they're afraid of starting over, right? And one thing that I know and God has shown me in my life is that God can give you multiple visions. So just because He'll place you in one area, it doesn't per se work out the way you want it to work out. Doesn't mean it's not there for a reason,
Yeah,
right? You may
facts.
have, but He placed you there for a reason, and that may carry over. You may not see it up until another 10 years from now or 15 years from now. Then you say, you know, I see why I had to be there at that point in time.
Yeah,
So I commend you for starting over and not being afraid and saying, you know, regardless of anything, I know my character and I know what I can do, and I know I'm going to get to. So wherever God take me, I already know how it's gonna play out. I mean, even though we can't predict the future, but you know
yeah,
the person the person you as the
yeah,
person.
yeah.
Now you went to because I know you said you applied to one applicant and got the
Yeah,
job.
at the time,
Got
yeah,
you. So you've been a part of James Madison University in 2023, football and men's tennis coach, right? Strength and conditioning, if I'm not mistaken,
yeah,
right?
yep.
Um, George Mason University, 2023 to 2025.
Yeah, that's what
That
I'm at right now.
as I see you got the shirt on, right?
Yep.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
And then Sam Houston State in 2022 to
Yeah,
2023.
yeah,
You did football, basketball, and bowling. I didn't even
Yeah.
know you did. I didn't even know you was did the bowling. Um, Let me ask you, man, real quick, just if give me a little bit of that those journeys of being in those schools. You know, I know you took that wisdom, everything that you've gone through, took some of that knowledge and instill it to the. As I was speaking to you over the phone the other day, you said, you know, I said, you know, you still be preaching the word. You said, yeah, man, I be I said you still be preaching the word, and the reason why I asked that is because a lot of times people think that you have to be a pastor or you have to be at the pulpit to preach the word and give the gospel, but
Yeah.
you can bring church anywhere because church is in you. You can bring it anywhere.
Yeah.
So tell me about that, like working with the athletes, getting them prepared, and then also giving them that good word.
Yeah, man. So work with the athletes is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, man. At Sam Houston State, I would say is the foundation for me, man. It's like the place where I was able to get skin in the game. Coming in at 2019 as an intern, I didn't know anything about coaching. I didn't know anything about strength and conditioning. It was a lot, and so that's why I developed a lot of my foundation and reading and trying to just understand what I'm doing. When I went back as a GA in 2022 was huge for me because I was able to work in basketball, football, bowling. I also helped out with track, and just able to get a lot of coaching experience. And so, I was able to start writing my own programs with different teams. Even at Delaware State, I felt like the Lord was leading me to basketball. And it's crazy how things work out because that's the predominant basketball is the main team I work with now.
Yeah,
So at the time I was programming for them, programming for bowling, and I was programming for like the punters and the kickers for football. So even throughout that time, our strength and conditioning coach Parker Whiteman is a man of faith, strong faith, and we held Bible studies at the time with the team. There was also a guy who was like the team chaplain, Taylor Simmons. He would have like small groups at his house and invite the guys over. So my goal was to be involved in all those things because I just knew it was part of moving the kingdom forward, and to me that's my real purpose is to love God and to make God known and spread the gospel and make disciples and walk with your brothers and sisters that are fighting a good fight in terms of taking up their cross and taking up their cross daily.
yeah,
uh, and so for me, like those things were huge in addition with the coaching. And I'd say at JMU, not so much in terms of the sharing the word side because I only was there for 5 weeks. But I did have some conversations with some of the guys there about what I believed and who God is. So that was dope. Um, and even if I'm at a place for a short time, it's good because my network grows. I'm able to build rapport with a lot of people, and it's crazy because at JMU I got really close with the staff really fast. We started our own Instagram page called Berg Bites where we would do food reviews. It's kind of crazy. You would think I knew these dudes for 5 years and we was together for 5 weeks. I've never experienced nothing like it.
wow,
Um, but it was wild. And so moved on to George Mason now. And, like I openly share my faith with these guys. Like, I let them know like the most important relationship you can have is with the Lord.
yeah,
There's other guys that I talk to faith. I talk with them about their faith a little bit more. But helping them develop as an athlete, I think is huge because for a lot of these guys, football, I mean basketball or the sport they play means a lot to them. And if they have goals that they want to reach, I make it about my business to help them reach those goals. And I just try to utilize the education that I have and share with them, and just make them know that this is not me telling you what to do. Like this is in collaboration. So if you want to get faster, if you want to get stronger, like tell me that. Like I'm not just here to make you the most swole dude in America. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of components right to performance outside of that. Is it necessary? Yes, you do need to have a certain amount of lean muscle mass, right, to help you in gaining strength and feeling confident on the court or whatever it may be, right? But it is a shared. This is a partnership, and us and you and I and well and me helping you reach your goals. So that's kind of how that's the approach I like to take with the guys, man. And in terms of faith, my hope is that they can understand that for me it's bigger than basketball.
Yeah.
It's bigger than basketball because I want them to know, like, man, like, like Keon, he trained us, we got right. But he also gave us some words of wisdom that I can take and remember, later on in life. And he also spoke to us about, the most important thing in life, which is knowing the Lord. And like this time, it's like I'll just joke about it. Like today, uh, you know, had some guys on the team now sick, and I was like, I just said a prayer, and I was like, yo, you gonna be healed, dog. Like
Yeah.
you gonna wake up and you gonna be healed. Like what's it face? And there was another guy on our team that was sick, and he felt better today. Um, and so like, I just try to remind him in those subtle ways because I know. I feel like all you need is a reminder sometimes, man. Be a lot going on, but yeah, yeah, man. That's kind of my approach in terms of training and helping people reach their goals, and kind of applying the word with that too.
You know, I was always taught that the day that you die, when your funeral happens, don't just have people come to your funeral to say that you was a nice guy. Have people come to your funeral to say that you left an impact, right? And so, which leads me to this. There's a picture of you on Instagram that you posted where you was at the game and you was flexing, right? I think you need to frame that picture and put it on the wall. You had your suit on and you was flexing, right?
Yeah.
And it's a quote that you wrote. It says, if you are present, if your present doesn't make an impact, your absent won't make a difference. Tell me about it.
Mhm.
Tell me about like when you wrote that quote. If you can remember when you wrote that quote, the emotions, the feelings, the feeling of that moment. Because I know everybody just see you flexing, but
Mhm.
that emotion. Take us, walk us through that. How did you feel?
Uh, I think it just makes me think about the fact that everybody has a role to play. Like everybody is a part of. It makes me think about collective ownership. So oftentimes when you see guys on the court, they're playing, they're running up and down, they're able to show their skill set and do all these different things. A lot of it is just, based on the work that they put in prior. And that can be working on their game, that could be in the strength, like in the weight room, that could be on court, that could be whatever they did before that to help them be who they need to be on the court. And I think there's a lot of hands involved in that. There's a lot of shoulders that those guys stand on from their coaches, their former coaches, the strength and conditioning coach, myself, or a strength and conditioning coach that got back home, the AT, the athletic trainer, the doctor that may have done their surgery. And so I feel like I'm a part of their success, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like the success that these guys have on the court is not just a product of physicality, but it's a product of mentality as well. And I feel like, I play a role in that to some extent. I don't think I'm God. I don't think that I'm controlling these dudes. But I think that there's an element of me being present in their life where I just feel like I'm a part of it in some way. And so I think if you're present, if your presence doesn't leave an impact, then your absence will make a difference. Like there's people who I've worked with, and I'm like, dang, like he gone. It's like he's gone. Then there's people I work with, it's like, damn, like you can feel like there's something missing,
Yeah.
right? Um, and so that's just kind of the impact that I would like to have, right? In terms of like when I leave, I want people to be like, man, like Keon did a great job, but obviously life goes on. Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
I love that, man. Always coming with the gems. I'm gonna read one more other quote that you have that actually touched me. It says, "At the end of the bench, there's an oath, one that requires everyone to be a part of. the fight whether on the battlefield or not. You must give something. Energy and passion is our sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That joint hard.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I came up with that joint, man.
You know,
Yeah.
it also reminds me, right? So it's one that requires everyone to be a part of. And so it makes me think of the biblical terms, right? Where God says, I am the vine, you are the branch. Apart from me, you are nothing, right? So all things work together. So it's a collective effort, right? You abide in me as I in you. Apart from me, you are nothing. So when you're looking at your team, you're looking at these guys, and a lot of times, I want to shout out to all the trainers and the coaches behind scene, because I give so much credit to the players, rightfully so, because they go out there and they perform. But the collective effort as a group, as a staff, to make sure that these players are fully equipped, they're strong enough to go out there mentally, not just physically, but mentally as well too, right? Y'all are just as much of a part of that success, but a lot of times they don't talk about y'all too much, right? Um, Tell me, just a little bit more about that feeling of being a part of that, and not saying that you want the credit, but just seeing these young men and being able to have such an influence on them and being a part of that journey. How does it feel being tied to these young men and having that type of impact on their lives?
Yeah, it's an honor, man. It's an honor. Like, it's funny to think about, but like where we have direct access to guys that are between 18 and like 22, 23 years old. And, a lot of them are in a space where, because of what they can do with a basketball or with a football, it makes them like kind of like either superstars or larger than life guys, like the big man on campus. But when you see these guys every day, like you see them at their best
Yeah,
and at their worst, and we just see an 18-year-old dude in front of me. Like when I see a guy that doesn't want to lift the weight that's on the sheet, like I don't see the dude. Like I'm just looking at you as who you are, right? And so what I like about it the most is that I see you on your best day and on your worst day.
yeah,
And on those days and in those moments, like you have an opportunity to pull from that day and not make it wasteful. So what I mean by wasteful is that if there's a challenging day, you only
yeah,
have very few of those in the context of training, where we can take a challenging day, a challenging training session, put those together, and we can get a positive result. So what I mean by that is, oftentimes if like training is tough, your attitude sucks, it's easy to make it a sucky day. You feel me?
right.
But if I can take those things and put it together, and on the other side it be a positive, like for me, that's what fires me up. Because I know when the lights come on, you're gonna be ready to play.
Right.
But I also know, like, when the lights come on and you know that you gave it all you had, when you didn't feel like giving, when when you could have gave in, when you could have quit, like that burning desire in you, like the thing that when most people are folding, like I guess you're stepping up to the plate.
Right.
And so those are the things that fire me up, because I know in the summer, like I'm pushing these guys, and like I'm telling guys, like, yo, talk to your teammate, yo, talk to him. Like when we're doing like our 6 a.m. stuff with the ROTC, and they're in the rain and they're running and deadlifting and doing pull-ups, like those are the moments that we pull from. And so for me, I just think everybody has something to give, whether you're scoring 20 points a night or you the dude at the end of the bench like me. Like everybody has something to give. And it's literally an oath. Like when you sign up to be a part of a team, you don't sign up to have 18 and 5 every night.
Right.
You sign up to be a part of the team. And
Right.
so like at practice, like I'm cheering on our scout team, because they're as much as part of our success as the guy that goes out there and hits the game winning shot. You know what I'm saying? And like the athletic training is a part of our success as much as like I don't know, like another coach
Yeah.
or because I feel like everybody has to play their part, right? If you think about an orchestra, like everybody has to play their part to hear the beautiful sound, right? That everybody's like, wow, like that sounds
Right.
amazing, right? Like if the trombone or the piano or the bass or the guitar is off, something's gonna be wrong.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that like because everyone is playing their part, it's always perfect. But it gives us it gives us a chance. It gives us a shot. And at the end of the day, we can hang our hat on. We know who we are,
Yeah.
and who we are is like that's who we are. We're gonna come together. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna push each other. Like we're gonna utilize these small opportunities in the summer when our bodies are tired and we don't want to do it to push through and figure it out. So that's kind of what it makes me think about. Like those are the things that fire me up. And when I think about like everybody has a role, everybody takes an oath, like collective ownership, and yeah.
Man. Keon, man. I'm glad I got you here, brother. I'm glad because as not because no for real because sometimes sometimes people need that little voice to allow them to continue to keep pushing
Yeah.
because you'll hear someone else's journey and their testimony and you'll say, okay, there's more in me. There's a fight. I'm here for a reason. I'm doing this for a reason. I saved the best for last. Well, for me at least, I saved the best for last, right?
Uh,
Because this moment that I was proud of you. I mean, I've always was proud of you, but also Akil as well too. You know, your brother. Uh, where y'all actually wrote, y'all authors, right? Y'all,
oh yeah,
all right. Y'all have a book,
yeah,
right? That was a real proud moment, and I didn't even know y'all was doing it. Just y'all just pulled up on social media with it, and I was like, man, what? You know, and
yeah,
me reading it myself, there was a lot that I took away from it, a lot that I've learned, some self-reflection as well too. It's called Ripe Spots in a Hard Foundation. All right. Um, tell me why did that mean so much for you? You know, one day when I get the chance to speak to Akil and have him on here, get to get his perspective. But for you, why was that so important? Like, you know, what was it about that process? And when you finished, that you look back and you said, "Man, this means a lot. This meant a lot to me."
yeah. Real quick, bro, I probably gotta leave soon because I gotta go get wifey.
Yep.
But I'll answer this question. So we didn't really know what to title our book, but somehow we came upon the right spots in our hard foundation. So you being a New York City guy as well, the concrete jungle. It's it's tough being a New Yorker in terms of I feel like your perspective is limited, and for me, I didn't know anything outside of New York growing up, uh, and so when I when I reflect on my life and I reflect on the things that I thought that made my experience tough or the things that made my experience unique in that foundation, like there's ripe spots, right? So there's spots in that foundation where it may be concrete, but in this spot right here, like there's for some reason there's soil,
Yeah.
like there's plants here. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something that I can take and I can take it with me, right? And we also, Akil and I just realized that even though we're twins, like we experience the world differently, we have unique perspectives. We just also wanted to share our life from our point of view. We wanted to share what it was like to experience uh, times in our life where we were hopeless and times in our life where we were not at our best in terms of where we were mentally, and then times in our life where we felt encouraged and we felt like there was a light at the end of the tunnel. And then we also shared things from other people's perspective. We share things from the perspective of women. We share things that we've seen in our community. I mean, the book is just filled with a wealth of perspective, I would say.
Yeah,
A wealth of perspective in terms of how people view you because you go a different route, what that actually means. Uh, People calling you crazy because you decide to bet on yourself, you know, like, like people trying to clown you, like just stuff like that, man. So like the book is dope. Like I have it on my desk at work. There's times where I'll just randomly open it up and I can't believe like my brother wrote this. Like I sent him something 2 days ago. He's like, "Yo, bro, I can't believe I wrote that
yeah,
because it's so fire." Like I be texting him with the heart, with the fire emojis. Like, "Yo, bro, like this is unreal. Like
yeah,
I can't believe like we actually did this." But I just love the book, man, because it's a creative expression of the life that we lived, things that we've seen in our community, and we definitely want to be able to put together another book at some point. But we're proud of our accomplishment. I'm actually got it right here. Um, we're proud of what we were able to put together, and it was something that we wanted to do, and we did it, which is dope, man. So it's a blessing.
man. Shout out to y'all for doing that. Is there a way anybody can? Is it still out for purchase? Can people still
Yeah,
purchase?
yeah. So if you click the link in my bio, it's jot form. If you fill out the form, um, we'll get a notification. You'll go through the payment process, and I'll send it out to you. So it'll be signed. I literally have books right here in front of me. So yeah, you just click the link in my bio or Kill's bio. We'll get a notification and we'll get it over to you.
Listen, for those that have not received that book, I encourage you to get the book. It's really a good book. It's very insightful, very impactful. So we appreciate you, brother, for joining. I know you gotta go get wifey. I don't want
Your
her.
wife.
I mean, I don't want you to be on bad terms, right? But listen, it's been a blessing being able to have you. I appreciate you coming on the show, giving us some insight, some gems. I hope everybody was able to get something from it, even if it was something that was small. So, Keon, my brother, I appreciate you, King. I hope that God continues to guide your steps and to lead you to nothing but health, wealth, and prosperity. And you already know I'm gonna end up reaching out to you in a bit. So
Yeah,
we gonna definitely chop it up soon,
yeah.
brother.
No doubt, bro. I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you being a friend, man. I appreciate you being a brother in Christ. And I just appreciate you being like who you are, man. Like, regardless of the tough times that I've seen you come upon in your life,
Yeah,
you stay solid, you put your faith in God. Like, I seen you stay consistent, like with all those posts, and just being who you are, and encouraging the people and doing what you want to do right now.
yeah.
And so that's dope, man. So I'm proud of you. I believe in you, bro. And yeah, keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate